Hello, English 232s. Miss Whistler here. We are in our last unit. We've got about 5 weeks left, a little over 5 weeks of coursework left. Um, this tends to be people's favorite section because a lot of the literature is more recent. So we're going to be looking at the 1950s to up through about 2000-ish. Um, and we'll sort of be digging into our novels. So just quick overview of what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at modern theater, which is going to be talking about the family life of the 1950s, 1940s, around there. We're going to be looking at Streetcar Named Desire, which is an excellent play by Tennessee Williams, a Southern play. And then we're going to be looking at Long Day's Journey into Night, which is about a sort of Midwestern-y sort of farm family. So these both look at how the family is changing in the 1950s. And then week 11, we'll be looking at the Beat Poets, which is pretty awesome. So there's a little link that gives you an overview of the Beat Poets. And then there's a quick video that just introduces you to the Beat Poets. Now, something to realize about the Beat Poets is that they are very anti-establishment. So think about how that resonates with all of the current groups who are trying to promote social change. And so just be aware that the Beat Poets, they use some choice language. They talk about very sort of graphic experiences. And so just shock value, just be aware, warning. Some of the things that they say and they propose and they claim are very shocking and edgy because they're pushing against the establishment. And so that's what you'll be reading in week 11, but there's a little overview video that's pretty awesome. I would not watch it around children. Put your headphones on, as there are a few choice words in there. Week 12, we're looking at the Black Arts movement and confessional poetry. Black Arts is similar to the Harlem Renaissance. It's another area in which African Americans sought to empower themselves through the arts, painting, writing. You see August Wilson, who is a playwright, become very popular. You see Amiri Baraka. You see Maya Angelou kind of gets her start here. You see lots of African-American novelists become very, very popular during the 50s and 60s. And you see what's called the Back to Africa movement, which is where African-Americans are trying to foster a sense of connection to their homeland of Africa. And so many African-Americans seek to find that connection, and many travel to Africa, explore the areas, trace their genealogy back to areas where they may have been from and where their families originated, and try to get a connection to what they call the homeland. You also see lots of African Americans embracing some of the fashion and cultural norms of sort of Nigeria and many other tribal entities in Africa to which their ancestors belonged. And so you see the dashiki come back, you see the natural hair movement. So notice that a lot of the Black Arts movement is like the Beat Poets in that it's a rejection of the establishment. And so you see a lot of that happening too. And there are lots of resources there. And then there's just a little hint of some of the readings. So there's Lucille Clifton there, Yusef Komunyakaa, two very prominent African-American poets, Rita Dove, who was poet laureate, and then Billy Collins, who's just leading the trend in that arena in terms of confessional poetry, confessing things. So that's week 12. Then week 13, we see a surge of feminism. So in the 70s, women sort of rose to the top. There's lots of legislation. There's a feminism timeline there. Women start to speak out about inequality, sexism in the workplace. You see lots of labor laws come into play related to equal pay, sexual harassment. They start debating, women's health issues like birth control, access to abortion, those sorts of things. And so all of that's on the feminism timeline. But the readings for that week is focused on the idea of feminism and a women's movement. And then freeform poetry, which is poetry that does not rhyme, that might look more like a text or a reading. And so that's week 13. And then week 14 is creative nonfiction and multicultural voices. So late 70s, 80s into the 90s, we start to hear from some peoples who were marginalized up to that point. So we get to hear that immigrant voice for the first time. And so we're going to read some from Native American populations, from some immigrant populations from Mexico, Central America, the Caribbean, like Haiti, Puerto Rico, all those sorts of areas. We get to hear about their American experiences, which leads us into weeks 15 and 16, which is where you're going to wrap up reading whichever novel you ended up purchasing, whether it's Americana, excuse me, or Little Princess, and you're going to start your novel essay. And so I will have a video on that week 14, but you need to be reading a little bit of your novel each week. I would aim for maybe 20 pages or so. I know a few people have found the novels online in a digital format. And so that could be something you could, plug up your jack to your car and listen to it on your way to work, and maybe jot down a few things when you get to work. So lots of options for you in order to finish up your essay. And then we will have our final test. I know some of you guys are finishing up your photo essay. So I extended the due date some for you guys so that, I know some of you were impacted by the hurricane. Remember, this is a photo essay. So focus on interviews, getting some pictures, and supporting your idea and your claim about how Americans were impacted by just constant war over those 3 decades. And so just remember you're basically peeking into your thinking logs, and you can pull things that you noticed about how Americans reacted to this constant chaos. So I know you're working on that as you go along. And so that'll be due, I think, week 11. Yep. So week 11. You'll post that under there. Now, lastly are the thinking logs for this. Again, you'll be working in a group, but here's the difference. There are 4 groups. You assign yourself to a group. I created the thinking log, so you just work in mine. So every time you want to work on a thinking log, there are 2 ways you can do it. Let's say, and you can join any group you want, but once it hits 5 people, it's closed. And so I will let you know that it's closed. But let's say you want to join the Rockefeller group. So you open it up. I noticed 2 people have already signed up. So Cheryl has signed up and Kevin has signed up. Okay. And so you will be working in here only. Now, if you wanted to put it in your Google Drive so that you could do it on your phone or your tablet and wouldn't have to keep going to Moodle, you would go up to File and you would hit Move To. Do not make a copy. Do not make a copy. Okay. You're working in here. Hit Move To. Okay. And then hit My Drive. Okay. And that's where you will put it. Okay. But you got to be logged into your Nash Gmail. So notice there are 3 more areas in here in Cheryl and Kevin's group. Let's see if anyone, and it's the same document each week. Okay. And I will peek in and join in on your discussion. Okay. There's nobody in there. Okay. So just make sure that you're joining in and it's the same group roles. Try to vary it up a little bit. So I noticed Cheryl put discussion director for each one, but try to maybe vary it a little bit. Cheryl and Kevin, maybe switch out every once in a while. You seem to like the ones that you have chosen, which is cool, and you'll be responding. So if you think about it, guys, just try to work on that. And you'll work right in here. You should be able to edit it. And I'll be peeking in every week and just seeing how the groups are doing. And so that is your overview of Unit 3. So things to take note of as you're discussing is, what does it mean to be an American? Okay, so we have looked at how the idea of the quintessential American has developed since the Civil War, because the Civil War really changed our identity. And so those are things you kind of need to be thinking about as we form sort of and look for imagery of, that quintessential American, as we look for people who have influenced the American identity. Um, Notice how the group names reflect some of the big American icons that helped us shape our country. So Rockefellers, Fords, Kennedys, Carnegies. If you don't know who those people are, the Rockefellers, were in oil. Um, the Fords obviously created the Model T and are a big manufacturing conglomerate of vehicles. The Kennedys is a big political legacy. There are still Kennedys serving in the political sphere today. And then we have the Carnegies, which made great amount of money and then took their money and used it to promote the arts. And so those are people that you could look at as you get ideas for what it means to be an American. And so if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll be grading tests and thinking logs this week. And so I'll do tests first. So I'll be peeking on that and see a quick glance. I mean, everybody did a lot better on the multiple choice part. And so, that's something that I knew would happen as you guys got more comfortable with the class. So I'm going to leave you with, don't forget my virtual office hours, which are Tuesday night and Wednesday night. If you need morning hours, I canceled formally my Friday morning hours. But if you need morning hours, let me know, because pretty much every morning I'm kind of open and available to video chat. And I know some of you guys are afraid of technology, but it is literally 3 clicks to video chat with me. Or we could talk on the phone. Whatever you guys need, just contact me. You guys are so close to the end, and many of you guys are doing really well. So don't give up. You've got plenty of time to make up any perceived struggles you have. So just remember to pay attention to directions. Many of you guys are struggling because you're not paying attention to the directions. So if you have a question, you just need to reach out to me. If you need clarification on anything, just call me and let me know that you want to talk. If you would prefer a face-to-face conference, I will try my best to work with you and try to meet with you after hours. But I don't know unless you tell me. We can also meet for lunch or something. I mean, if you have a lunch hour and you go and you eat lunch at Wendy's in Nashville, and that's the only time you have, I'll try my best to accommodate you, as long as you're somewhere close to campus. So just please, please, please let me know if you guys have a question or concern. I'm here to help you out. So I will be in touch, and I will talk to many of you soon.